I'm Lindsay from Artifact, and today I spoke with the sparkly and talented Tracy Dennis. Tracy spoke to me about her career and her aspirations for her future. Tracy is a choreographer and dancer and businesswoman living and working in England, but looking to spread her talent and her vision across the land. Tracy, you are such a warm and friendly person that I can imagine that every dancer that works with you can't wait to work with you again. Thank you for sharing your vision, and I hope to see more of your choreography on the big screen very soon.
My name is Tracy Dennis, and today we're going to be talking about my company and my career.
So, first of all, why don't we start with your career? What do you do, and how did you get into it?
Sure. Well, I'm a choreographer, but I used to be a professional dancer. And I actually didn't train professionally. I went to a local dance school in my hometown, Hastings, and my mum used to take me to dance classes. And I had a wonderful dance teacher called Miss Pauline, very high standards. And when I left college, my tutors were asking me, what am I going to do at uni? And I said, well, I'm going to leave now because I'm going to become a professional dancer. And I could see how worried they were for me in their faces. But I got a newspaper called The Stage newspaper, and I opened that and I read it, and I looked for auditions, and my mum took me up to London quite a few times. I auditioned, and I found it difficult because a lot of people that were holding the auditions knew the dancers from, various professional colleges. And they didn't know me because I didn't go to college. Because when you go to professional dance college, you get a little bit of a step up and a little bit of the door opens for you slightly when, you're introduced to choreographers and guest choreographers come and things. But I didn't know anyone. But
Hmm.
I did manage to get a job on a cruise ship for Princess Cruises, which was fantastic, actually. The standard of Princess Cruises shows, P&O, were fantastic and still are today, I believe. And I was really grateful for that opportunity because actually we rehearsed in LA a lot and I traveled the world. And then when I'd finished with that, I came back, I auditioned some more. I found that my height lent me to being a showgirl, really. People thought,
Mm.
oh, she's tall. Maybe she can be a showgirl. So I auditioned for the Lido de Paris, and they were doing a world tour. It's a show like the Moulin Rouge that is on the Champs-Élysées, and it's very prestigious, and it's cabaret at its best. And I got the audition, and I did the world tour, and it was fantastic because to be in a show like that, you're taught exactly how to do the showgirl makeup. I didn't know how to do anything like, the Parisian beautiful traditional red lip and the eyes. It was, and the lashes. There's so much art just to that, let alone the walk and the way you stand and the way that you carry the costumes and the choreography. Alex Magno, who choreographed the Girly Show, did some of the numbers in that tour. So that was fantastic too. And then I came back. I did some work dancing as a dancer on Top of the Pops, which was fantastic. And yes, and a lot of trade shows, a lot of dancer, dancer slash model jobs,
Mm.
whereby
Hmm.
there's huge trade shows for clothes, high street shops, and hair. Wella, Schwarzkopf, L'Oreal, huge trade shows, and they put on massive, massive theatrical shows to show off the hair. And they need models, and those models, they don't sometimes only want to walk; they want to put on this whole big theatrical number. So they need dancers, and yeah, so I ended up doing a lot of that too, which was really good. And again, it allowed me to travel the world.
Yeah, wow. That's amazing. And that is definitely sort of the foundation for what you do. Could you tell me more about the company that you started, what it's called, and what I guess its mission statement is?
Sure. So, as any kind of artist, I suppose, well, definitely a performing artist, you do have to audition quite a bit if you're not in a contract constantly. And I do like change and I like variety. So I like to mix my work up a bit. So it meant I was auditioning a lot. And I did get a bit frustrated because there were times where I thought, well, actually, I really deserved that job and I didn't get it. And I also observed how much talent there was around me and maybe not so many jobs, not as many jobs as people would like. You know, there's so many people in the industry, and jobs are the best jobs are they're hard to get. So I thought maybe I can do something about this and gain more control. And so I thought about starting up a company, and I named it the It Girls. And it was primarily club based, really, to introduce clubs to dancers that are not only freestyled like go-go dancers, but there was a element of choreography. They dropped choreographed routines over top anything that the DJ would play. And I quite like that idea, and so did quite a few clubs in Italy and around the UK and Europe. It expanded organically. My friend who plays the sax joined in. We had live vocalists join in, and soon it was a show that actually became a little bit more less clubby because I loved choreography and I was good at it, but my passion was still dancing and performing at that time. But I put together the shows and they became a little bit more less clubby and more dinner dining. So then the corporate market got involved.
Mm.
So they started to buy the show for award dinners, private birthday parties, Christmas parties where they'd like to be entertained while they eat. And then maybe we'd do a little party show to get the party started and hand over to the DJ, get everyone onto the dance floor, hand over to the DJ from there. And it was popular because when I started it in 2004, the Moulin Rouge movie was still very popular too. And we used a lot of music from, you know, we there was a lot of themed Moulin Rouge evenings, which I'm sure there still will be now, especially with the launch of the new musical in the West End.
Hmm.
Um, so yes, we were sort of a little bit Moulin Rouge, I would say, but always with a modern twist. We'd use today's music as well. So we were modern cabaret, should we say. And that's
Yeah.
exactly what we still are today. And we've flown all over the world doing the shows, and we shape the shows to suit the event because every event is different. And yeah, and it's great. I'm proud to say people like Richard Branson has seen the show, and he loved it, and he actually personally asked us to do some shows in Australia for Virgin Money and Virgin Unite, one of his charities. And from then he actually asked us to do when a personal occasion for his son's 21st birthday, he asked us to perform there. And yeah, it's great having people like him, his support. And we've actually bumped into him again because we've done some shows in Verbier since then. And yeah, just sharing the stage really with different, various amazing artists like Lionel Richie. And recently, Craig David is back on the scene. Everyone loves Craig David.
I'm
And
so excited about that. I missed
he
him.
is back on. Yes, he is back on the scene. And then about a few months ago, Boy George. So yes, various different celebrities over the years. That it's been exciting to be on the same lineup as them on the live events. So so yes, it's been a long time though. I have done that. This is going to be its 18th year of my company, The It Girls.
Wow. So, a lot of things change and go out of style, come back into style. Like you were saying, the Moulin Rouge was huge when you first started, and now it's back around again with the new West End show. And also, sort of that style is back, even with, I think, what is it, the six about the six wives? Like,
Yes,
yeah, that they have
yes,
that a
yeah.
similar look in that show. So, what are some of the biggest adjustments to your show or adaptations that you've had to do as a company and as a brand?
Oh, that's tricky. I mean, every phone call, my brain is just racing with the shape of the show and the song choice and the who's going to be on the job. You know, artist choice, artists are handpicked. What size stage have we got to work with? There's those everyday, not problems, but hurdles that are just, I suppose, the everyday job. And then other things come along, whereby the Me Too movement, which was very beneficial in a lot of areas to a lot of women, and still is. But unfortunately, we suffered from the Me Too movement. People saw our show because we are actually now called the It Girls and Boys. When I first started, we were called the It Girls. The company was run by a woman, I.e., me, and created by a woman, me. And it was really my friends and we, and creative, like minded women getting together, doing a show. And when we put on a show, and it's still the case, actually, the girls prefer the show more than the guys. But because we're an all female act, because we're all sparkly and things, but because we're an all female act, I think we got pigeonholed and we got seen maybe as an act for an all male audience, which there was a lot of before the Me Too movement, especially in the corporate world. So, but it wasn't the case that, we were performing for men's pleasure. That was definitely not the case. But I think it was seen that way maybe by a few people. And it was upsetting because we did see less phone calls and less work. And I mean, that's blown over now, thank goodness. But yeah, it was a shame that people like us got targeted when really I don't see that we were anything to really do with it.
Yeah.
We champion sisterhood and always have done.
And, if anything, it seems like you took that feedback, like maybe we are not a part of it, but somehow we are representing something that we don't want to represent. And you actively went about changing that, being more inclusive and more open about your goals and what you want to bring with the show.
That's right, exactly. I mean, like I say, I love change. I do like change. I do embrace it. And I just thought, well, people are asking me to see equality on stage, i.e., men as well as women on stage within my shows. Let's do it. And we have always worked with male artists too, just not so much. But this was a time to bring them in to show people we can still put on fantastic entertainment, no matter if there's all boys up there or all girls or a mixture. It's going to be fantastic entertainment at the core of it. So we brought in some boys, fantastic boys, and it actually gave it a new lease of life, the show, and me, and the whole creative process, because it mixed things up. We brought in some two guys, fantastic. They're called Those Two Guys, break dancers. Worked with some fantastic male artists, mixed them up with the female artists, and it's just great. It really worked. Don't get me wrong, the two shows bring something so different. I mean, I still watch the all female show and just think, God, that's powerful. That is powerful. It looks so good. But, it's
Yeah.
personal choice. It's personal choice. Adding the boys into the mix, I mean, it's just fantastic too. Honestly, they're just so good. I'm so proud. I'm like a mum.
Well, also speaking of change and shifting directions, I know that you are primarily recognized for your live show, but there are other creative outlets that you are pursuing. Can you talk about those?
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, like you say, I have been in live entertainment for a good 18 years now, professionally, and that's choreographing. And I do love choreographing. I do find I've got a natural talent there. There's so many different types of dance choreography. As a lot of people know now, thanks to a lot of dance shows on TV and the public knowing exactly what a choreographer is. Back in the day, I used to say I was a choreographer. People used to go, "You're a what? You're a what? What? Is that like some kind of scientist or something?" I'm like, "No, like a dance choreographer." The people really didn't used to know what that was. But thanks to all the TV programs, now that people know what that is and they respect it, and it's becoming more well known. And there's so many different styles of dance, and I wouldn't say I'm great at all of them. I'm terrible at if you ask me to do some ballroom or something like that on Strictly Come Dancing, oh my gosh, I wouldn't be your girl. But where I feel where my talent lies and where I really get it, so to speak, is and again, it's very difficult because I don't know if I can say this today because there's so many non-binary terms, but I would say it's a feminine style of choreography I have. It's very vintage. It's got what I would like to think is a timeless feel to it. It's yeah, it's a timeless choreography. I work a lot with ostrich feathered fans, and I love to make the shapes with those fans. They're so much fun. They do a lot of the hard work for you. They're so effective. Yeah, and I love to explore the shapes and the movement. they're like a violinist. When you see a violinist play a violin, it's an extension of their arms. I find it looks so natural. And if you see somebody that's any good at dancing with fans, again, it's an extension of their arms. It's just, it's beautiful to watch, visually
Yeah.
stunning. And there's an art in that. And it's important not to let that die. And also, there's so many trends. There always will be trends coming up. And the TikTok things are great. I love them. But it's important as well just to introduce young people to keep this tradition alive, I think, of whatever you might like to call it, old school, vintage, back in the day. Just to keep the romance of it, really, I suppose, and the personality of that alive. I find it captures a lot of age groups as well when it is performed correctly. So a little 3-year-old would love it up until, some grandparents. So,
Yeah.
and I like reaching a wide. I do enjoy reaching a wide audience, and I can do that with this style of dance. It's not offensive, it's fun, and it's feel good. And I love to make audiences feel like they're escaping, they're just coming out of their lives for a little bit. They're just forgetting about those bills for a little bit. And with this kind of dance and with most entertainment, to be honest, you can do that. You can do that. And it's a gift really, with what we do. So
Yeah.
yes.
Well, you were mentioning how you really enjoy choreography and that you feel like you just kind of have a natural instinct with it. What is it that you like about choreography, and what are some of your favorite things to incorporate into your choreography?
Well, choreographers work in lots of different ways. I work with music. Music dominates how I choreograph. I really need the music first and foremost. So that's like the first step, the music. I love lyrics within the music, and I often adapt the shape of what I'm doing, the dance choreography to suit the song lyric. And I love patterning. I love working with a large group of dancers so I can achieve just fantastic, effective patterning. And one thing I'd love to move into is film and TV because I'm so interested in camera angles and experimenting and going down that road whereby with live events you can't do that. You have your audience and you have your stage and you can position numbers different ways to face different ways, but it brings another element to have the camera there and then obviously just to go and edit afterwards and to make it even better. And I'd like the opportunity to explore that road, and I think I'm ready for it, and I think I'll be good at it. Got lots of ideas.
Which kinds of shows and in what kinds of avenues are you pursuing right now, or hoping to break into television with?
Well, I suppose I was watching a movie the other day, and it was Last Night in Soho, and it was a movie whereby she goes back in time a little bit, and Soho. It was Soho, I think, in the 1960s, and there's lots of cabaret bars and Cafe Paris. That's a very famous venue was mentioned there, and so I suppose I'm looking for maybe a nostalgic film that is maybe shot in a day where dance was very important. People went out, they went to dances, they watched shows. I know we still do that today, but especially with COVID, it's becoming less and less. But there was a time where that was very high on the list, and there was a lot of cabaret shows and things going on everywhere. And I suppose I'd like to be involved with a film that was maybe shot somewhere at the beginning of the 1900s that has some glamour that I can just add some sparkle onto and work with and give me a sweeping staircase and a lot of feathered fans and fantastic costumes and I'll be away.
Yeah, do you have any favorite films from back in the day, like the 40s, where every movie had a big feathered, sparkly number in it?
Oh, they were amazing. You know what? I don't have a favorite movie, but and I'm a shocker for loving to watch the most recent movie out, given my job and my interest. And I'm terrible at just watching highlights on YouTube of the old fashioned movies. I was actually watching Marilyn Monroe. So we're not going too far back here, but I was actually watching Marilyn Monroe the other day performing Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend. Oh my gosh, she was really good. She was really good. And those boys and that budget. And yeah, I mean, you just get blown away. It's some other popular movies, just like they're not black and white, but Mary Poppins, just The Step in Time, The Rooftops. I mean, Dick Van
Mm.
Dyke. I mean, it's just fantastic. Yeah, it's stuff like that. It's just, I don't know if we're ever gonna match that today. I watched the new Mary Poppins, and I have to say that scene, I wasn't sure. I still think Dick Van Dyke did such a good job in the original.
We got to step up our dance game, our
You know,
movie
yeah,
dance game. Yeah.
exactly.
Well, it's been fantastic hearing about, your journey and the growth of the It Girls and Boys. As we round out our time here, is there anything you want to say to maybe future you and when you listen back to this, what you want to remember about how you are right now, your hopes and aspirations for your next steps?
That's an interesting one. I would, yeah, I would say when you're asking me the question about the movies, and I suppose I'd like to mention the fact that I love an exciting brief, really. I love to tailor make, and the brief is so important. And when the idea is given to me, I run with it. I do my research, and I love the attention to detail and the kind of presenting various ideas. So different roads people can go down, different options. But it does start, I suppose, with them, with the opportunity that they are bringing to me. And I hope that I make that opportunity turn into a reality and bring their idea to life better than they could ever have imagined. So I suppose, yeah, when you ask me that, then I suppose that I'd just like to think that I would like to be offered an opportunity that I could really make another creative person totally happy with like their vision, if you know what I mean. If that makes any
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, you want to support a full vision come to life and just enhance, a creative aspiration.
Yes, completely. Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't say that I have a personally, that it's very strange. I don't have a favorite band or anything like that. I very much work on what people bring to me creatively, and then I enjoy hearing what they're about, what the job's about, and yeah, yeah, just trying to bring it to life and make it better and work with that really. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's great. I love that. I love that. Well, Tracy, this has been fantastic. Is there anything else you want to say before we go?
Yeah, yeah. The only other important thing to maybe mention if someone is interested in working with me is, I suppose, the dynamic of working in a team and the understanding and the empathy and the patience, the teamwork. Just yeah, just trying getting on together as a team and remembering that we're all working towards the same thing, which is a great film, a great show, and remembering that we're all working towards the same thing when times get tough, and just working, and I think respect is really needs to be at the top of everybody's yeah, on everyone's mind, is respect to one another within the team, um in order to move things forward professionally and for everyone to have a good time, and to feel fairly treated. I think when I work in a team, I like to think that that is the vibe I bring. And yeah, being contracted to somebody else on somebody else's show or film set, I'd like them to know that that's definitely what I value is professionalism and respect towards other people.